Today, I found a great new video game about a guy taking his dog for a walk. You can even design your own dog and take it to play in the woods. The video game is called Take a Walk in the Sunny Woods with Your Happy Dog Simulator. My name is Adam, and this is Light in Game Design. I'm here to analyze video game design from my unique perspective as a professional lighting designer. I'm hoping that this can inspire you on your own game design journey. Please subscribe as I will be releasing new videos often. And also, there are many spoilers ahead. Blair Witch is a terrifying video game, which is uniquely designed to evoke the emotions of being lost in the woods. We are introduced to a new character, Ellis, and his canine companion, Bullet. Ellis seems like a good guy trying to do the right thing as they're on the way to the woods to join the police in search of a missing boy. However, they end up getting lost themselves, and we get to explore Ellis's inner demons of post-traumatic stress disorder, while he's being exposed to the demons of the woods. So, how do video game designers and developers create sheer terror for their players while they're safely playing at home? People are scared of the woods at night because of their biological instincts. We've actually inherited these fears from our cavemen ancestors. The specific cavemen that ran around the woods at night were far more likely to get killed, unlike the cavemen who stayed safe by the fire. Dogs evolved side by side with cavemen, so we also have evolutionary instincts to understand canine emotions, using their strong senses as a way to warn us about danger.
It's okay, buddy.
The developers are wise to the fact that the player will rely on the dog for safety, so it would be a shame if Bullet just took off, and we as the player had to chase him to keep our safety blanket near. We could easily get lost running around after the dog, or get to our next heart-pounding story chapter faster.
Oh God, no, please. Don't move, buddy.
You need to realize the dog is the developer in disguise, manipulating you and pulling your puppet strings. You are being played. The lighting and sound designs are the heavy lifters in creating fear. Now, there's nothing to actually be afraid of at this point in the game, but the lighting and sound are able to create an illusion that something terrifying is around you. Game developers are always one step ahead of you. They know what you're afraid of, they know why you're afraid of it, and they know how to manipulate your fears like a puppet on strings. We're going to look at a selection of scenes throughout Blair Witch and analyze 3 questions that every single player is subconsciously asking themselves. 1. Is there an imminent threat to be afraid of? 2. What does the light and sound tell me about the environment? 3. What do I need to do to move forward in this story? Day 1. Bullet the dog is being cute, playing in the dirt as he's excited to head on a walk in the woods. The forest clearing has a beautiful warm sunlight that feels safe and tells me it's around noon. Sound design, notice lots of chirping happy birds. As we step onto the forest trail, we immediately step into a shadow as an ominous bass noise begins to rumble. There is a single shaft of warm sunlight on this fence gate. That makes it clear that this is the point of no return. Day 1, late afternoon. I still feel safe with the warm sunlight through the trees. The sunlight is now lower and more golden, indicating that we're getting closer to sunset. This contrasts the police car lot, making it clear that we've been hiking for many hours without wasting the player's actual time. The low sunlight adds a lot of distance through the trees, emphasizing how large and far you can travel in this forest. Day 1, sunset. Watch the lighting carefully before and after you fall down the hill.
Bullet, wait up!
Now there's a thick mist lit by cold gray light that is ominous. The sound design is now just a single chirping crow. The last rays of safe sunlight are setting behind us in a direction we can no longer walk. Day 1, dusk. We arrive at the campsite, which becomes a home base we'll visit many times. The sun is set, so no light pierces the trees. We can only see the sky, meaning that we have mere minutes until nightfall. Sound design, notice, is now a hooting owl with an occasional crow. Let's look at all 4 steps of day 1 at the same time. The game developers use the shifts in lighting and sound design to slowly transition us from feeling safe to feeling lost deep in the woods. Night 1. This is not the first and definitely won't be the last horror game running around with a flashlight in the woods. The Blair Witch designers were brutal when designing night lighting, as there is absolutely no moonlight and it's pitch black. The good news is that the developers have placed some key landmarks in the woods so we can orient ourselves. The bad news, the landmarks are terrifying, like this misshapen tree being pulled right into the Stranger Things upside down. Players are just creeped out, and nothing has threatened or tried to kill us. But when our dog starts freaking out and the flashlight flickers out, we are f***ed. An incredibly bright flash of light startles us, contrasting the extreme darkness. But these monsters like to attack close. So as you run away from the monsters in the woods, you will get lost. However, these landmarks, like this abandoned car, feel like they can keep us oriented. Inside the car, we are trying to repair the electrical fuses so we can turn the car's lights on. And as soon as we turn the lights on, it's suddenly daytime. Also, the formerly destroyed car is now in mint condition. We've either traveled in time or are seriously confused. Day 2. We're often walking through the woods, on the radio, talking with the romantic love interest. Wait a second. Sorry. This is a clip from the video game Firewatch. It just has a similar plot, so I got confused. We are actually playing the f***ed up version of Firewatch. So as I was saying, we're often walking through the woods, on the radio, with our love interest. That gives us some warm and fuzzies and good laughs while we're completely lost in the woods. With daylight, we can continue investigating the Blair Witch mysteries, as well as Ellis's complicated past. For example, look at this beautiful view of the river and tree. Now look at this same location later. The river is gone, Ellis is confused about why this is different. It could be the witch, it could be Ellis's mental health, or we could be lost somewhere else in the forest. But this tree makes it clear that we are in the exact same location. The lighting design is a major driver of these 2 different atmospheres. During the day, you'll stumble on so many creepy clues, like this videotape of a man covered in antlers murdering someone. And the clues just get creepier as they begin to reference us, like this creepy picture of the dog, a man, I assume it's us, and the scary antler man. Night 2. At dusk of the second night, we thankfully discover a train track so we can orient ourselves during another night of heart-pounding monster attacks. In my mind, I am instantly transported to the beautiful forest mystery from The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. But really now, we're just playing the f***ed up version of Vanishing of Ethan Carter. I'm personally in love with these 2 cold fluorescent lights in the trestle. There's a hollow, empty feeling with the color of these lights around us. That's when we get extra lucky and discover this train car with lights on both the front and the back. Now we can feel much safer as night falls. We find a well-lit lumberjack camp and the developers are giving us the puzzle of repairing a machine. Giving a player tasks is crucial at this point because it will force them out into the darkness to find the missing parts. Night 1 was about establishing the monsters and the fear of the dark. Night 2 is about exploiting that established fear. I expect the monsters to be in the dark attacking me, but just not this close to the lumberjack camp. But with light being our safety net, it's important to fire up the next generator. And that's when we see the monster is stalking us again. But now we know, just stick to the light and we'll be safe. No big deal. Time to explore all of these beautifully lit, abandoned, creepy mystery houses. That is until this moment when we're far away from our train car. The developers prove yet again that they are a step ahead and planned early for this moment to plunge the player into the dark forest again. The immediate urgency and puzzle now at hand becomes getting the lights back on. Day 3. Dawn is a beautiful time. We can start seeing in the distance, and there's an incredible blue mist that makes us feel safer from the monsters. This generator's little red light pulls our attention, and we go to turn on the lights at the camp. The light fixtures are a warm color meant to evoke safety, and this is quite a pretty composition. The lighting design reminds me of a Thomas Kinkade painting, but the f***ed up version of a Thomas Kinkade painting. Inside the abandoned house, we find a warm, safe place to catch our breath. However, your subconscious mind might realize that this little fireplace glow means this is not abandoned and we may not actually be here alone. Upstairs, we discover a fresh murdered body. The warm, safe lights are now powered off again, so we look out the window at the generator. There is the Antler Man, sitting on a stool, playing with my dog. This is another moment where the developers have been a step ahead of us with their lighting choices. There is the stool, sitting under the flickering light. I walked past this stool and flickering light several times and embarrassed that as a professional lighting designer, I didn't catch the important foreshadowing of that stool. And even earlier than this, I did not catch that the scary Antler Man was actually watching from the window. Let's look closely at him. There is a strong highlight on his shoulders, making his presence bright and abstract. So even if you don't notice him, your subconscious mind knows that you're always being watched. But once we turned on the lights in the window, he's vanished. Proving the developers stay 2 steps ahead of us thanks to their lighting design. Day ? Ellis has a deep, dark past that we slowly get exposed to through artistic visions, like this one of all these dead soldiers hitting the ground. What stands Blair Witch and any Bloober Team horror game out of the rest of the pack is that they aren't just a shallow jump scare generator. Bloober Team creates deep psychological trauma into their characters. I believe they've nailed the post-traumatic stress disorder for Ellis. First example, Ellis finds a helmet on the ground, which triggers this running sequence through the woods. The sound design is shifted to war zone noises. The lighting is foggy, so there is no clear sense of directionality in the sunlight, disorienting the players. All of these PTSD sequences are always triggered by an object or lighting choice in the environment that reminds Ellis of a memory. There are even these great white flashlights searching for you, but no real indication that there's an actual person or threat behind the flashlights. That leaves the player to believe that this just could be a massive windstorm, triggering Ellis's PTSD. The second PTSD example that I can show you without truly spoiling the game started at the campsite. I took a moment to appreciate the falling leaves, admiring their beauty in the somber orange foggy light. Further down the trail, the leaves were starting to glow with their own orange light, and I literally thought, well, that's a really weird lighting design choice. And that's when it hit me. The falling leaves have triggered another PTSD episode. The horizon is lit in the distance, so we can see far in every direction, which is a great visual contrast from the constricting dark forest so far. Each different fire is beautifully saturated in red-orange colors, while the whole composition is still monochromatic. I am not scared by these PTSD visions, but they are an exciting way to solve the mystery of Ellis's backstory. Look at how bright the fire is in the burned-out building. Every shadow emanates out from the fire, and it's stunningly beautiful. Let's watch how returning back to the woods is a visual color shock from the orange light in the Warzone memory. It would not be a Bloober Team video game without a spectacular finale that truly terrorizes the player. We're back at the camp, and after 5 hours of gameplay, we're seeing our first thunder and lightning storm. But where can we find shelter? The developers only give you one option, which is to walk up this staircase in the hill. You won't find anything on the hill, but this is the ultimate proof that the game developers are playing you. Back at the bottom of the hill, we'll begin watching a new video where we learn that the kidnapped boy has been hidden in the basement of a house. I need you to notice the composition here. There's an empty space on the first 1/3 of the screen, just for this unexpected reveal. Just look at the way the lightning either silhouettes or spotlights the house. It is the most dominant object in our view as we approach up the hill. This magician's sleight of hand relied on lighting choices to build one of the greatest moments of tension in Blair Witch. Any fan of the Bloober team's horror video games know that you do not want to go inside of a house that this team has designed. You won't have any idea of which door goes where.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm sorry, messed up again. This is actually a video clip from the Stanley Parable, and we are actually playing the up version of the Stanley Parable.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
At first, the developers keep the house designed as a ruin, and they let you explore it without any sleight of hand tricks. They want you to realize the house is small and you couldn't get lost inside. They use lightning to establish just how empty and small the house is, so they can bait and switch us later. Bloober's creepiest moments in the house are when they begin to introduce other lighting elements that are not our flashlight. Like this unexpected warm fireplace glow, backlighting mint-condition furniture. The chandelier is beautifully lit, and it juxtaposes the destroyed room that we're standing in. Let's get inside this nice room and sit by the warm fireplace. They've taken away the safety of the fire and jump-scared us with a destroyed chandelier. It's at this moment that once they change the lighting, the game designers take the gloves off and start terrorizing the player. There are other moments where we find the house in perfect condition. Watch carefully and see the before and after of the lighting design when the witch snaps us back into the destroyed house. Lighting is also useful in setting up jump scares. Before the monster breaks through this window, realize a single working light pulled our attention to look at the jump scare. After the monster is gone, the safe light is off as well. The house finale continues for an hour of relentless visions, jump scares, and torment. I don't want to spoil all of the plot conclusions that will happen in the house. But I'm hoping that you're able to get a glimpse of how lighting design can be used to manipulate and terrorize your players. I highly recommend that you take the 6 hours to play Blair Witch, turn off the lights, put on the headphones, and enjoy this terrorizing experience. Here's your bonus food for thought as we part ways. During this PTSD episode, the witch calls to us about hiding in her tree cavern for safety. Let me know in the comments below, did the art directors purposefully shape the entrance as the witch's womb? Thank you guys for coming on this game design journey with me. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe as I will keep this series going. And I'd love to chat with you in the comments below.